going to be talking about lesson 4 of unit 8, which is going to be talking about exterior and interior angle of polygons. So just a summary from lesson 3, our investigation. For any polygon with n sides, the sum of the interior angles, that means all the angles inside of our polygon, are going to be equal to 180 multiplied by n minus 2, where n, this right here, represents the number of sides of the shape, right? For any polygon, the sum of the exterior angles, that means the angles on the outside of the shape, is always going to equal 360 degrees. So I'm just going to go and write that in. 360 degrees. And if you go to this note where I posted it, you can actually go in and click on this link. It's a hyperlink, and it'll show you a really great demo of how that happens. And we'll go over that in class as well. So if we're going to determine the sum of interior angles of a polygon with 15 sides, let's do that together using this formula. So I know that the sum of my interior angles is going to equal to 180 n minus 2, right? 180 n minus 2. I know that it has 15 sides, so that means n is going to equal 15. I'm just going to plug in n in here. So I'm going to get 180 times 15 minus 2, right? And I got to do what's in the brackets first, so I'm going to do 180. 15 minus 2 is 13. So let's do 180 minus 13. That's going to give me 2,340 degrees. That means, therefore, the sum of the interior angles is 2,340 degrees. Okay? So let's move on and try to find the value of x here. So again, I'm looking for an interior angle. All of these angles are on the inside of my polygon, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, right? I have 5 sides. So I'm just going to use my equation from before. I know sum is going to equal 180 n minus 2, right? Sum is equal to 180. I know I have 5 sides, so it's going to be 5 minus 2 equals 180. 5 minus 2, we're going to do the brackets first, is 3. 180 multiplied by 3 is going to be 540 degrees. So I know that inside this pentagon, they're all going to equal 540 degrees. So I know they're all going to equal 540 degrees. I have 55 plus 60 plus 130 plus 145 plus x. And now I just need to collect like terms and isolate for x, right? And we've done that so many times this quadmester. So let's just do that. So I have 55 plus 60 plus 130 plus 145. It's going to give me 390 plus x. And all that's going to equal 540. Right? I want to get the 390 on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 390 on both sides. 390 minus 390 is just going to be 0. Right? So 540 minus 390 is going to give me 150 equals x. And I know that my x is now going to be 150 degrees. So I'm going to put the degrees here too. Okay? So now this is saying determine the missing exterior angles. Before we even start solving this, let's remember exterior angles of any polygon are equal to 360 degrees, right? So exterior angles are equal to 360 degrees. So these are our exterior angles. They're all on the outside. And if you watched that video, what they basically do is they rotate this in, and you'll see that it makes a circle, which is why it makes sense that they're all equal to 360 because a circle is equal to 360 degrees. Yeah. Okay, so if I know that all of these are equal to 360 degrees, I'm going to add everything together. So I'm going to do 90 plus 70 plus 80 plus 60 plus D is going to equal 360 degrees. And right now we don't really care about how many sides this thing has. They always in a polygon equal 360 degrees. So let's add up all of our numbers that we have. I know 90 plus 70 plus 80 plus 60 is going to give me 300. Plus D is going to equal 360. I want to move the 300 to the other side, so I'm going to subtract it here and subtract it there. So D is going to equal 360 minus 300, right? So that means D is equal to 60 degrees, right? So I know D is equal to 60 degrees. All right? So try doing this one by yourself. This one's a little bit tricky because you need to find P and R, right? And before you find, now you have two unknowns on the outside, but see if you can find either P or R given the information from inside the polygon, and then go from there, okay? All right, so hopefully you pause the video and you're just coming back. If not, pause it now and then come back and watch this, all right? So, I don't know what P is. I don't really have any information here, right? I kind of just have nothing to work with. So then I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, okay, do I have any information to work with on this R? And I do. I have 68 degrees and I have that this is a straight line, which means that this 68 degrees is going to be supplementary to that R. So I can say 180 minus that 68 is going to give me R, right? So 180 minus 68 is going to be 112 degrees. It's equal to R. And now that I have the R and I have my exterior angles row, which means that everything is going to equal 360, I can now go plug in my numbers. So I can say P, which I don't know. I don't know why this keeps correcting. P, which I don't know, is equal to 123 plus 58 plus 68, sorry, not 68, oops, plus 112, right, is equal to 360 degrees. So then I can do that math. P, so 123 plus 58 plus 112 is going to be equal to 293, which equals 360. Right? P, I'm going to move the 293 onto the other side by subtracting from both sides. So I'm going to do 360 minus 293, right? And that's going to give me P is equal to 67, right? So I know that my P value here is 67 degrees, right? I'm going to put degrees. And I know I found everything that I need to find. I found P and R, right? So I'm done that question. So it says determine the value of the variable. So I want to find G over here, and I want to find E over here, and I want to find F over here. Now, how I approach these kind of problems is I frankly do not have enough information to find G or F right now. Because they're both supplementary angles, I don't have enough information to find them. What I can do though, however, is I have this straight line here. And I have this coming out, right? So I'm just going to make that again so it looks nicer. The straight line here, and I have this right here. And I know this over here is equal to 35, so I can figure out what this is equal to, right? Again, I can use my SA rule. SA rule states that if I want to find the other angle, I'm basically doing 180 minus whatever that other angle is. So 35 is going to give me E, right? 180 minus 35 is going to give me 145. So I know 145 is equal to E. So I know this angle over here is 145. Now, I know that this, and this all make up a polygon. let's find out how many sides I have. And if I can find out how many sides I have, I can find out what the sum of those interior angles is going to equal to, right? So let's go find that. I have one, and they're not all the same sides, so I'm just labeling the sides. So ignore these like black lines. I'm just labeling the sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. Oh, and 6. Don't forget this one. Right, so I'm just labeling it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sides. It's a irregular polygon, so it's just be careful with that. Right? So I have 6 sides, and I know that my sum is going to equal 180, n minus 2, right? There's going to be 180. N is going to be 6 because I have 6 sides minus 2. So 180 times 4 is going to give me 720 degrees, which means that when we add everything up inside that triangle, inside that irregular hexagon, it's going to give me 720. So let's just go ahead and do that, right? So I'm going to do, okay, 81 plus 124 plus h plus 149 plus f plus e, which is 145. So I'm just going to plug that in. 145 equals 720. And this is why I always go in and I label stuff, because I actually forgot a number. We can also find h the same way that we found e, using our supplementary angles rule, right? So h is equal to 180 minus 73. 180 minus 73 is going to give me 107. Right, 107. So now I can just go back in and let's replace my h with that 107. Right, and now I can just add everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and add everything up. So I'm going to do 81 plus 124 plus 107 plus 149 plus 145. Right, and that's going to give me 606. 606 plus f, because I still don't know what f is, 720. Right, and now if I want to find f, I can just move the 606 over to the other side. So it's going to become 720 minus 606, because I minus 606 on both sides. So 720 minus 606 is going to give me 114. So 114 is equal to f. Okay, so I know that f here is 114. Now, I'm still looking for g. I can use that same complementary supplementary angle rule, right? Because they're both lined up to give me 180. So I know that g must be 180 minus f. So I know g is equal to 180 minus 114, which is going to give me 66 degrees. Right? So g is equal to 66 degrees. And let's make sure I got everything. I got E, I got F, I got G, and I got H. Right? And I filled everything that I needed to fill in there. Awesome. So we're going to move on to how to find angles inside something called a regular polygon, right? So a regular polygon is a polygon that has equal sides, and as a result, it also has equal interior and exterior angles, right? So I know that inside this octagon, all the angles are going to be the same. So when I actually go in and label them, I just label them as the same angle because it's all going to be the same number. So I label them all as A, right? They're all A. So this example says Derek is building a deck for his summer job in the shape of a rectangular octagon. He determine the measure of the interior angles on the deck, right? So first things first, what I'm going to find out is all of these need to equal some sum of interior angles. I can find that using my sum of interior angles rule. So I can say sum of the interior angles is equal to 180 times n minus 2, right? Which is equal to 180. N is how many sides do I have? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can count, or you can just remember that octa means 8, so I have 8 sides. Okay? So I have 8 minus 2, right? So 180 equals 8 minus 2, which is 6. 180 times 6 is going to give me 1080. Right? So 1080 degrees is how much they're all going to equal to. So now I know that 1080 is going to be equal to a plus 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 a. Or I could say, how many a's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 sides in there. So I can say 1080 is going to equal to 8 times the angle. So if I wanted to find just the angle, I could just divide both sides by 8, which will give me 135, which is equal to that A angle, which is the angle of all of them, right? So therefore, the measure of the interior angles of the deck are that all of them are equal to 135 degrees, right? Therefore, all angles are 135 degrees. Okay? So this one says determine the value of x if the following picture below is a regular polygon, which means that all of its sides are the same, which means that all of its interior and exterior angles are also the same. Now, right off the bat, you might not know what to do with this, but what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to say, all right, that means that all of these angles are the same. And that's how I see it, right? All these angles are the same, which means that the sum of all these angles is going to equal some number, which is going to equal, there's 5 A's, it's going to equal 5A. So let's find what that sum is going to be. So sum is equal to 180 n minus 2. So 180 n minus 2. I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So I'm going to say sum is equal to 180, n is 5, minus 2, right? So I'm just going to go in there, solve. 5 minus 2 is 3. 180 times 3 is 540. So I know 540 is going to equal a plus a plus a plus a plus however many times that's 5, or 5 times a, right? And I'm just going to divide both sides by 5 to get what one angle is going to be. So 540 is equal to, divided by 5 is equal to 100, and 5 equals a. So I know each of these angles is going to be equal to 108. Now, I know this angle here, so I can easily find this angle here using my supplementary angles rule, right? So if I'm going to find my x, I know that x is going to equal 180 minus a, right? Which is going to give me x is equal to 180 minus 108. X is equal to 72. And that's my answer. Okay? So, last couple of examples. Again, try to work these by yourself, right? We've gotten to that point where you know how to do most of these. This is more thinking and inquiry. Okay? So it says so pause this video and try to work on it yourself. I'll give you a minute. All right, welcome back. So one of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 144 degrees. How many sides does this polygon have? And right off the bat, this question feels like what? Like, how am I even supposed to know that? Right? But let's break it down logistically. If it's a regular polygon, that means that 144 is going to be multiplied by every side that's in there, because there's going to be however many angles. If you look back here, it's 5 sides, 5 angles. So here, it's going to be 144 times the number of sides, right? And I know from this morning that 180 n minus 2 is going to also indicate how much that sum of 144 144 times n is going to equal, right? So I'm going to take 144, multiply it by the sides that are available, and I know that that's going to equal the sum of all the interior angles, which is that's the equation for sum of all the interior angles. So now this becomes, if we go back to unit 2, this becomes solving an equation where the variable is on both sides. We just want to solve for n, which is the number of sides. So let's just put that in. So we have 144 multiplied by n is equal to, let's expand this 180. 180 times n is equal to 180n. 180 times negative 2 is equal to 360. Right? I want to get this n by itself on this side, so I personally decided to divide by 144. Divide both sides by 144. Cancel that out. So I'm left with n equals 180n over 144 minus 360 over 144. I just split up the fraction so that I could do that. N is equal to 360. I can reduce that fraction, so I'm just going to go in and reduce it by saying, okay, maybe I can divide them both by 60 or 12. I can divide them both by 12. 144 divided by 12 is equal to 12, right? 360 divided by 12 is equal to 30, right? And I can even divide this further into, if I divide both by 3, I get, or if I divide both by 6, I get 2. And then if I divide the 30 by 6, I get 5. So I have 5 over 2. Right, so I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to write 5 over 2. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the 144. I'm going to see if I can divide 180 by 144. No, I can't. I can divide both by, also I can divide both by 12, right? So we'll start off with 12. I'm pretty sure I can divide them even further than that. Let's try 24. So I'm going to divide both by 48, right? Let's see if that works. 3. Oops, that didn't work. So let's do this by 12. So I'm left with 12 over here. 180 divided by 12. This is going to be 15. And I can even divide this further because I can divide both by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4. 15 divided by 3 is 5 over 4. Right, so I'm going to put this in. 5 over 4. And remember that it's still multiplied by n. So this is 5n over 4. Right, and if that's how you need to divide, that's okay. That's just how I do it. That's my process. Right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to move this 5 over 4n to the other side because I have an n over here. So I want to move all the n's to the same side. So I'm going to move this n minus 5n over 4 is equal to negative 5 over 2. Right, now I need to make this n into an equivalent fraction. So it's going to be 4 over 4n minus 5n so that I can actually do the math here. Right, is equal to negative 5 over 2. And let's just solve together. 5 over 2, right? So 4 minus 5 is equal to negative 1 over 4 multiplied by n is equal to negative 5 over 2, right? I'm going to divide both sides by 1 over 4. Divide this by 1 over 4. And I use the divide sign because I don't like putting fractions over each other. So n is equal to, so this cancels out. N is equal to negative 5 over 2 divided by 1 over 4. And if I remember from solving fractions, it's going to be negative 5 over 2. Change the sign, flip the fraction, right? So if we do that, we have negative 5. And you can use a shortcut where you do the crossing out. For the purposes of now, I'm just going to show you how to do just multiplying. So I do negative 5 over 4, and I'm going to multiply that. I'm going to get negative. And again, I have to do divided by negative. Oops, divided by negative 4, right? And so this is going to be negative. Negative 4 times negative 5 is going to be positive 20. 2 times 1 is 2. That's going to equal n, right? 20 divided by 2 is just 10. So I know that this polygon has 10 sides. Therefore, polygon has 10 sides. Okay. All right. That was a lot of fractions and a lot of math. I also know a lot of people prefer using decimals. I would prefer you used fractions, just easier. Okay. All right. The exterior angles of a regular polygon is equal to 30 degrees. How many sides does the polygon have? Right? So if I remember correctly, exterior angles always add up to 360 degrees. Right? So I know that the sum is going to equal 360 degrees. In a regular polygon, all of them are going to be the same one. So it's going to be A plus B plus B plus C plus C, plus C plus D plus E. Whatever number of polygons that we have, or whatever number of angles we have, they're all going to be the same. So they're all going to be 30 degrees. So I can say 30 times the number of sides that there is going to equal 360. Now I just need to isolate for n and compare to this last question. This one's a breeze. Right, so 360 divided by 30, n is equal to 12. That means, therefore, this polygon has 12 sides. Okay, and that is the answer. That's the end of this lesson.